Alright, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I've got a check engine light on in my 2005 Honda CRV. I'm going to be going through some steps to diagnose the issue and talk about the solution. So first of all, check engine light came on while driving. There were at first no drivability concerns, and then after a while, when stopping and idling, it was idling very low. So the first step, we need to find out what the code is. So for that, I have more expensive equipment, but I always like to just go to my Blue Driver OBD2 reader. There'll be a link below where you can get one of these. This is a great little device. It's very easy to use if you have a smartphone. So I'll plug that in. Make sure our key is in the on position. All right, then I will open up the Blue Driver application on the phone. The reason the Blue Driver is nice, in my opinion, is because it can do some advanced diagnostics. They often release firmware updates for the code reader itself and update the app, and they're adding more and more foreign vehicles all the time. So you can do advanced diagnostics on a Honda. So for example, you can see when I click scan, we want to do all system modules, common dash lights, or the check engine light. Well, all I'm concerned with today, for the sake of time, is the check engine light, because some of these can take a lot longer to scan. So I'll click check engine light. All right, it says 2 codes found. We have a pending and a confirmed. All a pending means is that it's an ongoing issue that hasn't been stored, but we do have the same code as a confirmed code. So P1157, HO2S air fuel sensor, sensor 1, bank 1, line voltage high. So this can be a couple of different things. If you are lucky, it is just the oxygen sensor. If you are unlucky, you have a problem with your wiring between the PCM and the oxygen sensor. And if you're really unlucky, you have something wrong with the computer in the car. So those are basically the 3 different things that it could be. What's nice is you can click on this in the app. It will give you a definition. It will give you some of the causes and a frequent reported fix. Obviously, in this case, replace the oxygen sensor. So I'm going to have to get the car up on some ramps. We'll get under here. I'll show you where the oxygen sensor is that we're talking about. There's 2 of them. In this case, since it's a bank 1, sensor 1, that means the expensive oxygen sensor. On the 2005 CRV, the upstream oxygen sensor is what's called a wideband sensor. It just has a greater range of air-fuel ratio that it can see. What that means to you in reality is that it costs a lot more money. So don't be surprised. But I'll put a link below to the best price on the OEM oxygen sensor. Alright, so I'm just going to back out of here for now. We'll just leave this the way it is, turn the car off. I'm going to get it up on some ramps and we'll get to work. Alright, so to get your car jacked up on some ramps, get the rear tires blocked, set the parking brake, we'll want to spray a little bit of penetrant. That's assuming we're going to be replacing the oxygen sensor. So as I told you, there was 2 oxygen sensors. This is the upstream wideband sensor. It comes in right before the catalytic converter, and that reads the raw exhaust situation coming right out of the engine. And then you have your mid catalyst sensor. That all that job for that one is to analyze to make sure the catalytic converter is working. And this is just an old school non-wideband sensor. So this is the one that's the problem. Just inspecting the wiring here real quick. I don't see any signs of any problems at all. You can check the connector. If I depress, button here. Pull that apart. Don't see anything wrong. Everything looks good. There's no corrosion at all in the connector. Okay. Wire pushes out of its retainer. And then this part is actually clipped onto this metal right here. Okay. So that's loose. So you want to let your penetrant work for a while, because in this case, we're going to assume it's the oxygen sensor. They make a special oxygen sensor socket, as you can see, that fits around the wiring. And that's nice because, you know, it will allow it to spin. Sometimes these can't get a great bite though. We'll see. If it starts to spin at all, I'm gonna have to take this off and just cut the wire off and use a regular socket. Alright, so it's good if you let the PB blaster actually sit for, you know, an hour or so. It just popped loose. Now I can spin it out by hand. And that's ideal because, you know, if this is the original sensor, they've sat for a very long time. And that rust makes it hard to get out. So there is our old sensor. Definitely looks like it's been running lean recently, just by looking at it. So here's our new sensor, part number 234-9064. This is a Denso product. And it is the OEM replacement for the factory sensor. So here's the new one. You can see they're identical. The wire is just a hair longer. Main thing you want to make sure is the connector is the same. Alright, so the new sensor came with some anti-seize on the threads already. They also include more anti-seize in the package. Just gonna put just a touch more on there because there's a little missing. Gotta make sure not to get any of this up on the sensor part though. Alright, just spin this one in by hand. Make sure you don't get the threads crossed. You can use just a box wrench to tighten it back down. And make sure it's nice and snug. Onto the metal bracket, and then we'll push the rubber part into there like that. Then we'll re-plug in our sensor like that. Alright, that's all there was into the car. Just a very quick couple-minute job. Alright. Back in the car, we'll just turn the key forward to on. Go back into our app. I'm going to go ahead and read the codes again. Okay. Now we will clear the codes by hitting the clear button up here. Yes. Alright, hear the car reset. Go ahead and back out of here. Back out of the app. Shut the car off. Disconnect my scan tool. Now I'll turn the car back on. Just go ahead and start it. It'll take the car a minute to learn the new oxygen sensor. So I just let it idle for a second until it kind of idles down. Alright, so far so good. I'm going to take the car for a quick drive just to make sure the light does not come back on. Sometimes you have to do a couple of drive cycles. So after you reset the codes, you're out even on your first drive. One way you can tell that you actually fixed it and that it's not going to come back is go ahead and scan the codes again. And if you see a pending code, even though the check engine light isn't on, that means the issue has come back, but the computer is waiting for the drive cycle to turn on the check engine light. So this is a good sign. I have no pending codes. The permanent code has been cleared. Permanent codes clear themselves automatically once the problem's fixed, in this case. So that's all a good sign so far. All right, so we're good. So that's all there is to it. Again, that is the most common problem when you get that code on a Honda, is that it is the O2 sensor itself. In the rare instance that it is not the O2 sensor, it will require further diagnostics. The main thing is to look for where there could be a break in the wiring. That is pretty rare though, luckily. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Be sure to like the video if it helped you. Subscribe for more, and until next time, we'll see you later.